Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. There are people who like to stick their nose where it doesn't belong. Imagine having a neighbor who's also a little crazy and annoying. Here's the story we'll start our video with. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Story about my next-door neighbor. On 6/25, I had surgery that didn't go as planned. Since then, I've spent 25 days in the hospital, have been taken to the hospital 3 times by ambulance, and have had a whole herd of nurses come to the house to give me care. I'm doing better now. I expect my neighbors to be curious, but she's entitled and annoying. Here's an exchange I overheard between her and one of my nurses. Annoying neighbor. Hi, are you a nurse? Nurse. Yeah? AN. Why are you here? Nurse. Just providing care. I can't tell you more than that without their permission. AN. Well, can you tell me whether it's the man or woman getting care? Nurse. No, I can't tell you that. AN. But I need to know. Nurse. Are you family? AN. No, I live next door. Nurse. Then I can't tell you. AN. You should tell me. If they have something that I can get, you legally have to tell me. Nurse. No, I don't. Medical records are private. If you want to know, ask them yourself. AN. Well, I asked one of the other nurses that come over, and she said she would tell me. Nurse. I doubt that. Otherwise, you'd know. AN. She just ran out of time to tell me, so you should just tell me. Nurse. I'm not telling you. AN. Well, the other neighbor across the street knows what's going on. So one of the nurses had to tell him, but he won't share with me. So you should just tell me. I told the other neighbor because they aren't a pain in my butt, and I like and have become friends with them. Nurse. I'm sorry, I can't and won't tell you. I need to go inside now. AN. You need to move your car. You can't park where you are. Nurse. I'm parked on the street where other cars are parked. Why can't I park there? AN. Well, someone else who lives in this neighborhood might need to park there. Nobody ever parks there except people visiting me. Nurse. Okay, well, I'm not moving my car. And I need to go inside. AN. Wait, do they have COVID? I don't want to get COVID. Nurse. I can't tell you that. Bye. The annoying neighbor then stood on the sidewalk watching my door for about 10 minutes, huffing until she finally left. That nurse had the patience of a saint. And our next story. This happened 12 years ago, and I'm still reaping my rewards. I worked for the company. They did 3-phase photography, family and children photography, no weddings or events or anything. Straight studio work that was in a portable setting. Sittings booked for 10 minutes, and we were supposed to shoot 30 to 50 a day. Yes, it's as wretched of a job as it sounds. It was fast, high energy, and at times, simply brutal. Pre-seller. They come in 2 to 3 weeks in advance and sell a special 10 by 13 portrait and book the appointment. The photographer. That's me in this instance, comes in for about a week and takes the pictures. The salesperson returns 2 weeks later with the special along with the 6 poses I took and tries to sell you $400 worth of pictures. I was very good at what I did. The company sales average was $100 per customer per 50 customers. The more you shoot, the lower your quality because you spend less time taking care of details and sell pictures. My average was $175-ish per 150 to 200 customers. I was making this company a lot of money, and they consistently treated me like crap. Oh, the stories. So that's the background. Now the good stuff. Enter the jerk. The jerk is a pre-seller who lied to the customers, lied to the store, and would book appointments from 9 a.m. to 8:30 p.m., even though the studio hours were 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. The biggest problem was he would waive the sitting fee or just not tell them. I was obligated to collect that $8. Every time I didn't, it came out of my check. It was a freaking nightmare. I refused to work behind the jerk for these and 1,000 other reasons. I told boss that if they ever put me behind the jerk again, I would quit, which is exactly what happened. They knew he'd been working at the store I was assigned, and they lied about it. I immediately called boss and told him this was my last shoot and that he needed to make arrangements to get the photography equipment at the end of the shoot. But nobody came to get the equipment, so I started making phone calls and plotting. Me. Hey, what do you want me to do with your equipment? Boss, you're going to need it next week in Florida. Me. No, because I quit. Boss, you didn't give me any notice, so I'm not accepting your resignation. I'm sending you to Florida next week. Me. I'm an independent contractor, remember? You can't make me go to Florida. This is not complicated. I quit. Boss, just go to Florida. I don't have time for this now. You can quit in 3 weeks if you can hire a replacement. And he hangs up. Nope, not going to Florida. I packed the equipment and took it home with me. The camera was a brand new Canon T2i 550D, and those were pricey back in 2010. I really didn't want to give it back, but it wasn't mine to keep. I had an idea. Boss was an absolute train wreck of a human. I decided to use his own worst traits against him: avoidance and procrastination. The next thing I did was take the company credit card and go to the nearest storage unit with climate control. I rented a unit and paid for the first month, but just one. I unloaded it all, down to the last halogen light bulb. I took detailed pictures of everything in an inventory. I locked the door and walked away. At this point, there was nothing I could do but wait and hope boss would continue to be the worthless wreck I knew him to be. Next, I called and reported the card stolen. Why? Because I knew if I didn't, that card would remain active and rent would be paid every month on time. And that just wasn't going to work for me. I cut it in half and sent it and the combination to the storage locker to boss via FedEx, along with a hand-painted sign that said, "I quit." I also sent an email to HR telling them that I was terminating my contract and that boss had the information on the equipment. This is probably the only sketchy thing I did. The person I emailed was out on medical leave, and I knew it. I could have sent that email to a dozen other people who worked there, but they might have paid attention to it. By the time she got back to the office, she had so many emails, she couldn't even begin to tackle them all. A month goes by, and the police knock on my door. Okay, so I wasn't expecting that. The company has reported the equipment stolen, and the police are there to investigate. I really thought I was going to jail. The cop that knocked on the door was fully expecting to take me away in handcuffs until I explained what was going on. I ended up taking copies of the emails to the police department as well as my copy of the contract with the storage unit. I also had a copy of the shipping label. Both my name and the company were listed on the contract. I had to make an official statement and jump through some hoops. The company had placed a monetary value of $12,000 on the studio rig, so potentially I was in a lot of trouble. Except I covered my butt. The police told me I was in the clear because the storage unit had their name on the contract, their credit card was used to pay for it, and I'd sent the combination and all the pertinent information to the company. I'm very good at CYAWP. Cover your A with paper. At this point, I figured the gig is up, because surely they're going to come get this rig or send someone or something. Nope. Boss is still worthless. 2 more months go by, I get a call from the storage facility. They're about to cut the lock and auction the contents. I just about peed my pants, I was so excited. I called boss again. He dodged my calls and ignored my emails to please call me immediately. I never specifically stated what I wanted to talk to him about, and just like I was hoping he would, he ignored me. Okie dokie. I've done all that I can. And that's when it all started coming together. And then I hit a pretty good snag, but it actually worked out better in the end. In this state, if a storage unit goes up for sale, the owner cannot purchase it at auction. I didn't know that. But where there's a will, there's a way. They sent letters and called 3 more times, and then the date was set. The unit went up for auction on my birthday. My neighbor went to the sale. He bought the unit for $125. I almost died. And of course, we were in cahoots on this, but we had to make it look like we weren't. The pistol grip the camera mounts cost more than that, not to mention the lighting, props, and costumes, and of course the camera. My neighbor then put an ad in the local paper for photography stuff, $1,000 firm, but didn't list anything specific, and Oops, put the wrong number in the ad. A week later, he wanted it out of his garage, so he sold it to me for $126. He has a bill of sale from the auction. I have a bill of sale from him. It's now mine, and there's nothing the company can do about it. But they tried. I now have a fully functional photography studio, all the contacts I need to start my own business, and the skills to do it. I started calling all the stores I'd worked for in the last 8 years and offered them a much better deal than what the company was giving them. I did my own pre-selling, my own photography, and my own sales. Except I took it a step further. I bought a monitor and computer and let people preview their pictures and order the day of the shoot. People loved it. No high-pressure sales, no tricks. My customers were happy, and so were my stores. About 6 months after my first independent shoot, I heard from the company. I got several nasty letters from them. I would have been content to just let it slide, but this whole thing ticked me off, and now I wanted blood. I made a real effort to really hurt them. Within a year, I had stores and schools calling me. I had more work than I could handle on my own, so I took on a second photographer, then a third. I actually hired 4 people out from under their noses. At the height of my business, I had 8 additional photographers and a full-time office assistant. I ran the company completely out of 3 states. They lost all of their chain contracts to me, including the store where it all blew up. The jerk lost all his stores and ended up working at a gas station. The boss ended up demoted because his district was dissolved when I sniped the contracts. The jerk actually tried to convince one of my photographers to hire him to do the pre-selling for her. Boss left the company for good and used me as a personal reference. He was a good photographer, just a rotten manager, and I took great joy in telling people who called me that I was not legally allowed to tell them what I thought of the man. The age of cell phone camera pretty much destroyed traditional photography, and I closed my doors as a business in late 2017. The company closed for good in 2016, and I'd like to think I had a hand in that. I'm still standing, and they're nothing but an empty building. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.